A few days ago, while toiling away at my job, I was overcome with the feeling of missing my girlfriend. We live together, I see her all the time, but I'd suddenly felt a thought float just above the surface of my mind. I've lived most of my life without her. That thought opened up a web of other thoughts. Every day that she cooks for me, every day that she cleans for me, deals with my personal flaws. She chooses to be here. And the fact that we're all mortal means there may come a day where she won't be here. For whatever reason, there may come a day where I will never see her again. I want the last thing we remember of each other to be something profoundly happy. With that sentiment, I asked her what I could buy for her on my way home, and I ended up gifting her a bottle of mezcal, loaded fries, and champagne. When the drinks had settled down a bit, I told her the motivation behind it all. Sometimes my mind gets so bogged down about working towards the future, I forget about the present. I never want to forget the fact that she's here or take it for granted. It's something I should be grateful for every day. There have been many times where I slaved away at a job because I thought I was helping the people there or even the people around me. But you can't exactly call a life like that living. And if you ever felt that feeling, or if you're going through it right now, there's a manga I discovered just a few days after that night that I think you would appreciate. Tendo Akira graduates college and heads straight into the workforce. He lands a job at some big-name entertainment corporation, and all of his coworkers seem nice and inviting. He describes himself as burning with passion and dreams, and looks forward to the famous people he may get to meet. There's even a super pretty coworker he can't help but notice. But that night after work, everyone in the office goes for drinks, and this is where Akira decides he will work as hard as he can so that he may end up impressing the beautiful woman that he met. But right after they all decide to call it a night, everyone goes right back to work. Akira's first day on the job is an all-nighter. In fact, he was only able to go home 2 days after his first shift at work. The reality of the situation hits him. He works for a black company. A black company, or a black business, is a Japanese term for a company that exploits its employees, usually by hiring a massive amount of young people who don't know any better. They force them to work long and arduous unpaid overtime hours and give them tons of verbal abuse. I don't use the term abuse lightly, as a symptom of abuse often manifests itself as the victim making excuse for the abuser. Shortly after realizing he works for a black company, he talks himself into thinking all he has to do is work harder, get used to the massive workload, and summon up all the willpower he has in his body to show them what he can do. After all, he worked hard to get this job, and he chose to do it. So he goes back to work with a renewed passion, and then gets hit with reality check after reality check. This segment of the manga touched me personally, as someone who has spent so many years in the workforce. The company has paid vacations, but no one ever takes them. Why would you put the company at risk? The workers have a pissing contest to see who has accumulated the most unpaid overtime. It reminded me of the times the senior staff at my job would get angry at complaints of long hours just to tell the people who were complaining that there are others who are working even longer hours. Even Otori-san, the subject of Akira's interest, is having a not-so-concealed relationship with the chairman of the company, something that would truly be a problem if anyone else in the company would partake in similar behavior. 2 years in, Akira starts asking himself why he is even there. But if he should quit, where would he go? The job has robbed him of his confidence in himself and made him believe his only use is there. And even if he did go, he believes he'd be hurting everyone at the company. So he stays. And a year later, he's lost himself. He's lost sight of anything in the present. With such tunnel vision, he doesn't even believe he works at a black company. A constant state of denial. On a normal day of waking up early and dreading the idea of having to go to work, he notices he has accumulated fees from his apartment that he forgot to pay. Making his way to the landlord's office, he notices that no one is attending the front desk. He begins to get stressed that he will be late for work if he doesn't find him soon, and decides to walk into the office just to find the door open and the landlord zombified and feasting upon a corpse. He does the most sensible thing and begins to sprint right out of there. And while he's running away, more and more zombies begin to chase after him, all while thinking, at this rate, I'll be late for work. Can you just imagine the level of being a wage slave that you would have to be staring down animated corpses, and all you can think about is how your boss will chew you out once you get to work? Anyways, Akira then notices a jet literally fall out of the sky, and the realization creeps up on him. If the world is ended? If zombies have taken over the world? Then this means I don't have to go to work starting today. That's right. Instead of fearing about the future of a world overrun by zombies, he is elated to find out that from now on, he won't have to go to work. Before, the only thing he could see in front of him was his work desk surrounded by a dark and cloudy mist. Now the world seems so much brighter. The greenery of the trees, the blue skies, even the blood of the zombies. Akira questions, at what point did he forget how colorful the world was? The world is a beautiful place, but you can forget that if all you ever do is slave away at a job day in and day out. I used to go weeks without a day off sometimes, and every time I'd have a few days off, my ex-girlfriend would note how happy I would be whenever I had gotten some time off. At first, he's elated. Given the day off, he cleans his home, drinks beer, but on his way back home from a beer run at the gas station, he notices that his neighbor's house at some point had gotten overrun. And the grim reality hits him. Humanity may not last long. He may not last long. So he wants to make sure he does everything he's ever wanted to do before his life expires. At first, it was the simple things, doing yoga, holding a concert, grow out dreads,
Lord God, Lord God,
and ride a motorcycle. After quitting the company, what I really wanted to do was number 31, spend more time with my parents. Number 32, drink all night with my best friend. Number 33, meet the woman of my dreams. And so, the 100 things I want to do before I become a zombie, or rather the title of the manga, Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead, is born. I know there are many out there just like Akira. I used to be myself, and surely there'll be a day where I'm lost to some kind of work again. But we can't enjoy life if most of it is spent trying to further somebody else's dreams or to line their pockets. There are so many of us that feel as if we just don't have enough time. And that is what Akira received when the zombie apocalypse happened. It was time. The one and only non-renewable resource, the only thing that you can truly lose and never get back. Every day, there are billions of us giving or being robbed of our time by businesses and corporations. It gets to a point where many just decide to end it all. When Akira finally had time, he was able to sort his mind, clean his room, create goals for himself. With more life to use as his own, and the realization that it is finite, Akira was not only blessed with time, but with that time, he was able to give himself a future. Don't get me wrong, there's something to be said about hard work and dedication to your craft, but there is a line. There are boundaries that need to be set in place, and those begin where your mental and physical health begin to deteriorate. No matter what you may think about your place of employment or job, the reality is that most of us are absolutely replaceable. And given a reason, illegitimate or not, they would replace you without a notice. There's a special place in my heart for pieces of media that inspired me to live a happier life, and Zom 100 is one of them. It's a reminder to never let yourself get absorbed in your works, to never let the vibrance of color to escape your eyes, never lose sight of the future you envisioned, and to most importantly, never forget about the people that matter to you most, because one day you just might never see them again.